Godzilla versus SCP-682. Two of the most powerful, most unstoppable monsters in all of fiction. Two monsters that are actually bigger and above even our own universe. Well, they're going at it here today. But who's going to ultimately be coming out on top? Godzilla Ultima or SCP-682? And really, is it even gonna be close? Let's get into it. Godzilla Ultima is unique amongst all the Godzillas. And that's putting it lightly. It's a higher dimensional being who's mutated and adapted to our dimension, all while simultaneously trying to destroy our dimension in the process. So while this Godzilla might seem like a normal Godzilla at first, he's really anything but. Sure, he's able to destroy buildings, plowing through cities and knocking down skyscrapers, but that's not where his true power lies. He's also able to take all sorts of attacks. Godzilla Ultima actually has 4 different forms. Godzilla Ultima is his ultimate form, and each of the 4 forms are more than tough enough to take any attack that the military can throw at him. At his best, well, he's taking city-shaking attacks. He's got a healing factor that allows him to come back from most any injury he takes, allowing him to survive the injury, and it naturally adapts and evolves his body to where he'll now be more durable to that type of injury the second time around. But again, that's not where his true power comes from. I mean, he's from another dimension altogether. Even his atomic breath is unique. It's not actually atomic breath, but a closed, time-like curved molecular laser. Basically, multiple beams from the future come back to the past and are greatly amplified in the process. And it really is quite powerful. He's able to one-shot some pretty big monsters with it and blow them to pieces. Godzilla can also unleash his red dust. He's able to dispel red dust, otherwise known as archetype, something that's able to pull photons from the future into the present, bending time, space, and the laws of physics in the process. Godzilla himself is a singularity for this archetype, so he could basically destroy the universe and lead to where the future itself doesn't exist. And Godzilla really doesn't care if he does that. In fact, his true form is even larger than the universe. If he tried to enter the universe in his true form, well, the universe would be destroyed. He's a singularity and a higher dimensional being from outside our dimension. He's a cosmic entity that experiences all time, space, dimensions, and all alternative timelines at the same time. He's a 4th dimensional being, and if his true form entered into our 3-dimensional world, well, he would destroy it just by stepping foot into it. But while Godzilla is like a 13th dimensional eldritch god with supposedly incomprehensible power, he's also kind of like Cthulhu, completely all-powerful, but yet prone to being defeated by the simplest things. It's kind of a big drawback for him here. SCP-682 is a large reptile creature of unknown origin. It appears to be extremely intelligent and has a hatred of all human life, due to both viewing them as cockroaches, as well as having been tortured by them for decades. Because of this, it will try and kill most people on sight. So before we get into talking about 682, it might be important to give a little bit of context for the SCP Foundation. The Foundation is basically like a bigger and better Men in Black, tasked with capturing and studying different paranormal and supernatural phenomena, all while keeping their existence hidden to the outside world. Pretty simple. Where it gets a bit complicated is that the SCP is all based on the SCP Wiki page, which is a community writing project. It's awesome and such a cool, creative story, but it also means that there are tons of different canons and interpretations of different characters, and a lot of them conflict with each other, mostly because anybody can write for the site. So it's just safe to say we're doing a composite version of SCP-682, and just trying to find the most consistent version of the character across all the different canons. Okay, now let's get into it. The origins of the entity known as 682 are shrouded in mystery. Some say it's the survivor of a catastrophic world-ending event. Others say that it's the child of the Scarlet King. Maybe it's the serpent from the garden that offered humanity the forbidden fruit of knowledge. Maybe it's a god itself, the very concept of hate. Maybe none of this is true. Maybe all of it is. It was found by the SCP Foundation after murdering a group of farmers, but it seems to have existed for all of human history, inspiring humanity's fear of snakes and dragons. 682 hates all life, and so it goes out of its way to kill everyone it can, constantly escaping from the SCP and attacking everything in its path. Because of that, the SCP Foundation has made it their mission to destroy the creature, but they've had no success whatsoever. No matter what they throw at it, 682 always manages to survive, adapting to each and every threat. And when the SCP Foundation says that something is hard to kill, well, they really, truly mean it. 682 is completely immortal, and his immortality is broken beyond belief. It's believed to be the child of the Scarlet King and the Fourth Bride, which probably explains its immortality. And 682 has been able to survive having 100% of its body being destroyed, regenerated back from just a single cell. It's even survived being erased by an absolute void and existing in a non-existent state before regenerating and coming back. And 682's own personal timeline and history were completely erased, wiping it out of all existence. And 682 was back just a few seconds later. Yeah, it's literally impossible to kill or destroy. And a big part of why 682 is so dang hard to kill is its adaptability. It can adapt to any threat in an instant and adapt in a way where it can instantly overcome it. 682 can match any power used against it, meaning that its own power will increase based on the damage that's done against it. And it's not just pure physical force that it can adapt to. 682's been able to adapt to and overcome mind control, molecular decomposition, soul manipulation, reality warping, complete erasure, even being removed by the SCP authors. And while it is true that 682 will lose past adaptations as time goes on, this also isn't necessarily the case. So we've seen before that it can instantly regain any past adaptations that it needs in an instant. And then lastly, we need to talk about SCP-682-0A, the true reason why SCP-682 is so hard to destroy. 682-0A is the source behind SCP-682 and is basically a higher dimensional being that exists above even thoughts and concepts, so that even the concepts of hatred or adaptiveness actually exist still inside 682-0A. And then 682 is the physical embodiment of 682-0A, manifesting itself in reality as a way to interact with physical reality, basically making it a platonic concept manifesting in reality, which is why it's able to survive everything and adapt to everything. So, who wins? Well, let's break it down. Now, starting out, Godzilla Ultima should be more physically powerful than SCP-682, because even if Godzilla Ultima is one of the physically weaker Godzillas, it's still Godzilla, still able to destroy cities, still able to level buildings, still able to do pretty much anything it wants and impose its might just by throwing its body weight around. But here's the problem. SCP-682's adaptability is absolutely broken. It'll be able to pretty much instantly scale to Godzilla as soon as the fight starts. it can scale to the same power level that's used against it. So as soon as Godzilla starts trying to throw some hands, well, now 682 is on the same level as Godzilla. We've definitely seen this before too. Exposed to enough power, well, 682 has grown large enough to reach the same size as the planet Saturn and ate countless different planets across the universe. It didn't stop there either. 682 ended up stretched out across the entire universe and devoured whole galaxies. 682 is also adapted to the point where it could fight against Abel, and Abel is powerful enough to destroy whole universes. So yeah, expose it to Godzilla, there's no doubt in my mind that 682 will quickly grow just as powerful as Godzilla, especially factoring in that 682 can literally adapt at the speed of light. And then you just got Godzilla fighting against a rapidly evolving and ever-growing, more powerful version of Godzilla. And that becomes SCP-682's fight to lose. But then what about the fact that Godzilla, well, isn't from around here? He's a singularity and a higher dimensional being from outside our dimension. His true form is even bigger than the universe. He's a cosmic entity that experiences all time, space, everything all at the same time. But we already said this, while Godzilla is this eldritch god with all power, he doesn't really work that way, and it can still be beaten by pretty simple things. We've never really seen anything from Godzilla to suggest that SCP-682 couldn't still just physically beat it as 682 gets more and more powerful. Now the problem with that line of thinking is that SCP-682 can very easily beat Godzilla Ultima at its own game here. Like, Ultima is a fourth dimensional being, 682 just laughs at that and looks down upon that. Because if we're going to try and scale Godzilla Ultima up to its fourth dimensional form, well, then you have to include SCP-6820-A, the source behind SCP-682, in a higher dimensional being that exists above even thoughts and concepts, so that even the concepts of hatred or adaptiveness actually exist still inside 6820-A. It would literally swallow up Godzilla Ultima inside of itself, even Godzilla Ultima's higher dimensional form. There are just so many ways that SCP-682 is beating Godzilla here. It can physically manhandle it as it evolves. 682 could also theoretically absorb Godzilla and kill him that way, considering that 682 has taken other members of its species in fights and absorbed them as a way to kill them. Then you can always get into the fact that 682 is like super meta, and it can beat Godzilla that way too. Like, anytime 682 exists in a story, which would theoretically include this instance of fighting Godzilla, well, 682 then has control over that story. And 682 has taken this ability to control stories to kill 95% of all SCPs in existence and wipe out 70% of the Omniverse and fight against multiversal beings like the Scarlet King. So that's crazy and could definitely help 682 just completely wipe out Godzilla. Basically, SCP-682 is one of the most broken characters in all of fiction. The big lizard goes crazy, and for as powerful as Godzilla Ultima is, there's just no way the big monster stands much of a chance here. SCP-682 wins, and it's not even close. But what do y'all think? Sound off in the comments down below. I know you're gonna have thoughts and feelings on this one for sure. If you stuck around this long and made it to the end of the video, that's amazing. Thank you so much for watching and for supporting us. And if you want to go subscribe, well, go subscribe. you're going to see more videos like this one every single week. I'll see y'all then. I'll see y'all next time.